Hello, today I'm looking at Majjhima number 119, and this one's entitled the Kayagatasati Sutta, and that's translated as mindfulness of the body. Now the location is Savatthi in Jetta's Grove in Anathapindika's Park, and the people mentioned are Buddha, or the Blessed One, and the assembly of monks or bhikkhus. Now the sutta starts with the assembly of monks discussing the benefits of mindfulness of the body. And later on in the day, Buddha leads the discussion. Firstly, he starts talking about mindfulness of breathing, how a monk finds a quiet place, sits down, legs folded, body erect, and establishes mindfulness, observing the breath, breathing in long, breathing out long, breathing in short, breathing out short. He further trains thus: I shall breathe in, experiencing the whole body. I shall breathe out, experiencing the whole body. I shall breathe in, calming the bodily formation. I shall breathe out, calming the bodily formation. As he thus abides, diligent, ardent, and resolute, his memories and intentions based on the household life are abandoned, and with their abandonment, his mind becomes steadfast, steadied internally, quieted, brought to singleness, and concentrated. This is how a monk develops mindfulness of the body. So that last phrase is then repeated as we go through the sutta here. And Buddha continues, again, bhikkhus, when performing bodily actions, he understands those bodily actions when walking, sitting, standing, lying down. He understands he is walking, sitting, standing, and lying down. That too is how a bhikkhu develops mindfulness of the body. Again, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu is one who acts at all times in full awareness, in going forward and returning, looking ahead and looking away, when flexing and extending his limbs, when wearing his robes and carrying his bowl, when eating and drinking, when urinating and defecating, when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, talking and keeping silent, at all times full awareness. That too is how a bhikkhu develops mindfulness of the body. Again, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu reviews the same body from the sides of the feet to the top of the head, bounded by skin, full of many impurities, thus head hairs, body hairs, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, stomach contents, feces, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, spittle, oil of the joints, and urine. As the bhikkhu abides this diligently, this is how he develops mindfulness of the body. Again, bhikkhus, this bhikkhu reviews the body as consisting of elements. Thus there are fire, earth, air, and water elements. As the bhikkhu abides thus diligent, this too is how he develops mindfulness of the body. Buddha then goes on to describe how to develop mindfulness of the body by observing the body decay in charnel grounds. The corpse that is bloated, livid, oozing matter, a bhikkhu compares his own body with this. It is of the same nature. Seeing the corpse being devoured by crows, hawks, jackals, worms, this too is a body of the same nature as the bhikkhu. that the bhikkhu's body is not exempt from this fate. Abiding thus diligent, the bhikkhu develops mindfulness of the body. The sutta continues describing a corpse thrown aside with flesh and blood, sinews, bones scattered in all directions, shoulder bones, neck bones, jaw bones. As the bhikkhu compares his own body to this, it is of the same nature, it will be like that, it is not exempt from that fate. And as he abides thus diligent, this is how the bhikkhu develops mindfulness of the body. And finally, the bhikkhu is seen observing the corpse that has crumbled to dust, that the bhikkhu's body will become thus. This too is how the bhikkhu develops mindfulness of the body. Buddha then goes on to describe entry in the jhanas. Quite secluded from sensual pleasure, secluded from unwholesome states, the bhikkhu enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied and sustained thought, with rapture and pleasure born of seclusion. He makes the rapture and pleasure born of seclusion drench, steep, fill and pervade his body, so there is no part of his whole body unpervaded by the rapture and pleasure born of seclusion. Now Buddha continues the progress through the 4 jhanas, and that's the same as in Majjhima Nikaya number 39 and Majjhima Nikaya number 77. And I've sort of made a brief video entitled Meditation in the Theravada Buddhist Tradition of the Jhanas. And in each step of the jhana, through the jhanas, Buddha alludes it to the following. It is first like a skilled bathhouse man applying water to bath powder until it is of the right consistency. Rapture and pleasure born of concentration is like being filled throughout, is like a lake being filled throughout with the inflow of cold water. With the fading away of rapture and abiding in equanimity, this is like a lotus flower, where no part of a lotus is unpervaded by cool water. With the abandoning of pleasure and pain, sitting with pure bright mind, it is like a man covered in spotless pure white cloth. This too is how a bhikkhu develops mindfulness of the body. So that's sort of analogies for each of the steps of the 4 jhanas. Bhikkhus, Buddha continues, anyone who has developed and cultivated mindfulness of the body has included within himself whatever wholesome states there are that partake of true knowledge. So I'll just say that again slowly. Anyone who has developed and cultivated mindfulness of the body has included within himself whatever wholesome states there are that partake of true knowledge. It goes on, in whomever mindfulness immersed in the body is not developed, not purified, then Mara, the personification of sensual pleasure and temptation, gains entry, gains a foothold. So Buddha then gives some analogies of how Mara may gain a foothold or may be kept from gaining a foothold. So he starts with, like a heavy ball sinking into wet clay, like lighting a fire with dry sapless wood, like pouring water into an empty jug, Mara finds an opportunity to gain access. But anyone who has developed and cultivated mindfulness of the body, Mara cannot find an opportunity or support in the person. And again, the analogies here are like someone throwing a ball of string at a solid door, like trying to light a fire with damp wood, or like trying to add water to an already full jug. Similarly, Buddha says, when anyone has developed and cultivated mindfulness of the body, that when he inclines his mind towards realizing any state that may be realized by direct knowledge, he attains the ability to envisage any aspect therein. So in the Thanissaro version, translation, the direct knowledge is defined as the 6 higher knowledges, and I think those are knowledge about clinging, ignorance, desire, liberation, calmness, and insight. And for these, the analogy is given. The person realizes this: just as a strong man can spill water from a full jug, just as a strong man could spill water from a full lake by removing part of the embankment, just as a skilled chariot driver could turn his team of horses in any desired direction. So, in summary, once realized, the ability is always present to turn the mind towards any state realized by direct knowledge. In summary, Buddha says, when mindfulness of the body has been repeatedly practiced, developed, cultivated, used as a vehicle, a basis established, consolidated, these benefits may be expected. One becomes a conqueror of discontent and delight. Discontent does not dominate. One overcomes discontent whenever it arises. One becomes a conqueror of fear and dread. Fear and dread do not dominate. One overcomes fear and dread whenever they arise. One bears cold and heat, hunger and thirst, contact with mosquitoes, snakes, wind, sun. One endures ill-spoken, unwelcome words and arisen bodily feelings that are painful, racking, sharp, piercing, disagreeable, distressing, and menacing to life. One obtains at will, without trouble or difficulty, the 4 jhanas that constitute the higher mind and provide pleasant abiding here and now. One wields various kinds of supernormal power, and those are outlined in Majjhima number 100. One wields mastery, a bodily mastery, even as far as the Brahma world. With the divine ear element, one hears divine and human sounds. One understands the minds of other beings, a mind affected by greed or unaffected, affected or unaffected by hate, by delusion, concentrated, distracted, exalted, surpassed or unsurpassed, liberated or an unliberated mind. One recollects manifold past lives. One sees beings pass away and reappear, whether fair or ugly, fortunate or unfortunate, and how beings pass on according to their actions. By realizing for oneself with direct knowledge, one here and now enters upon and abides in the deliverance of mind, and deliverance by wisdom that are taintless with the destruction of the taints. This is what the Blessed One said, and the bhikkhus were satisfied and delighted with the Blessed One's words. And that's the end of Majjhima number 119, the Kayagatasati Sutta. Thanks for watching.